Every Argentina preview for this edition of the World Cup seems to be focusing more on Messi. But today, that's not what we're going to do here. We are going to be talking about Argentina, and we're going to do a full World Cup preview for them and talk a lot about Messi. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to another World Cup preview. Today, we're going to dive into how Argentina got to the World Cup, why I believe they are legit contenders, even though Brazil are my favorites to win. I do think Argentina has high odds of winning this World Cup. We will also be going through their current tactics, style of play, and skim through their probable roster. I will also be giving you 4 reasons why I believe they could win this World Cup. And yes, Messi will be talked about quite a bit. After all, if Argentina wins the World Cup, he will probably be the main topic. And hey, if you're from Argentina, decime que se siente. Do you think Argentina is going to win the World Cup or what? Drop a comment down below. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? Is it Argentina, Brazil, France, some other nation? Let us know in the comment section your prediction. And while you're at it, smash the like button if you like these types of previews, and we'll do many more. Argentina has won 2 World Cups throughout history and has been a World Cup contender in multiple occasions. Alongside Brazil, Argentina is one of the most legendary soccer nations of all time. Argentina won its first World Cup back in 1978, led by legendary goalkeeper Ubaldo Fijol, Daniel Passarella, Mario Kempes, and many other legends. Sure, it was a controversial World Cup, but I won't dive into that here as the primary focus will be the 2022 World Cup, and it would take too long to talk about the 1978 edition. In 1986, Argentina won their second World Cup led by a guy you may remember, Diego Armando Maradona, one of the greatest players of all time and, according to many Argentina fans, the greatest player of all time. I don't agree with that, but it is a reasonable take. That World Cup was hosted in Mexico and had one of the most memorable moments in World Cup history, La Mano de Dios, or Maradona's Hand of God, and eventually it had Maradona lifting the World Cup trophy for Argentina. But enough of that. Let's talk about the 2022 cycle, how they got to the World Cup, because that can give you a better picture of why this current national team is a title contender. What happened in 1978 and 1986 doesn't really matter right now, does it? Argentina qualified to the 2022 World Cup with ease and undefeated. They actually have been undefeated for quite a while. Argentina's last defeat was back in the 2019 Copa America semifinal versus Brazil. Since then, they have gone 35 matches without losing. Yes, you heard it right. They haven't lost for 35 matches. Italy currently holds the record for national team undefeated runs with a 37 undefeated streak that was broken back in 2021 when they finally lost. Now, Argentina will aim to surpass them soon. So essentially, if Argentina goes undefeated in the group stage, they will reach 38 matches undefeated. If they have a friendly before the World Cup, they could even reach 39. So the odds of them breaking Italy's 37 undefeated streak record is pretty high. Honestly, if I had a bet on it, they're probably going to break it. During World Cup qualifiers, Argentina finished in second place only behind Brazil in CONMEBOL. In the 17 matches they played, they had 11 wins and 6 draws. So I do want to say one thing. The excessive amount of draws is something to worry about, and I'll talk about that later in the video. Now, Argentina played only 17 matches in this World Cup qualifying edition, and normally they have to play 18, and they should have played 18, but that didn't happen. What happened was Argentina and Brazil should have played the 18th match, which was postponed a few times and canceled after Brazil tried to deport Argentine players mid-game. Yes, that happened. It was a mess at the time, but it didn't really matter. Both teams qualified in first and second, so we just move on from that. During the campaign, Argentina scored 27 goals and only allowed 8. So they were most certainly not as dominant as Brazil. However, I must say, Brazil has been struggling against Argentina lately. The past 3 games had 2 Argentina wins and 1 draw, including Argentina's Copa America final win versus Brazil in Brazil. Not just that, Brazil has not scored against them in the past 3 matches, which we're going to address that later in this video, how crucial Argentina's defense is if they want to win the World Cup. And look, listen, if I told you to pick a national team to hold Brazil scoreless for 3 matches, 270 minutes, that ain't easy, but Argentina has done it. So Argentina are World Cup contenders in my opinion. Now let me tell you why. Let's dive into their current team, Scaloni's tactics, and much more, and I can finally give you my 4 reasons why I believe they are legit title contenders. After all, in my lifetime, and I have watched the World Cup closely since 2002, this to me is the Argentina side that has the highest odds of winning it all. Yes, even more than the 2014 one that made it to the final, in my opinion. So let me explain why I believe that. So reason number 1 is their coach, Scaloni. Scaloni took over the Argentina head coach job after the 2018 World Cup. What is interesting here is he only had been an assistant prior to that. He had no experience being a head coach prior to this job. He had worked with Sampaoli as an assistant at Sevilla, and then he went with Jorge Sampaoli as an assistant for Argentina in the 2018 World Cup, which probably explains part of the success he's had so far. I believe a lot of the success Argentina is having now is Scaloni learning from the mistakes of 2018. This will also be Scaloni's 3rd World Cup alongside Lionel Messi. He was back in 2006 as a player during Messi's first World Cup, then in 2018 as an assistant coach, and now in 2022 he will be Messi's head coach at Messi's last World Cup. Okay, so how does Scaloni's Argentina side play? How does he set up this team? So mainly you see Argentina alternating during the game from a 4-4-2 to a 4-2-3-1. And look, I'm gonna use some players' names here to help you understand their tactics. Some of them could be injured, some of them might not be in the World Cup. I'm just using it based off what we normally see from Scaloni's player selection and assuming they're all healthy, okay? It's just so you can understand how his tactics work. So normally what I notice is the 4-4-2 is the defensive shape of this Argentina side, with their wingers dropping to the midfield, essentially becoming wide players. It can be Papu Gomez, Lo Celso, Di Maria, plenty of good names there. Then in that same 4-4-2, Lionel Messi and Lautaro Martinez stay up top with a double pivot midfield behind them, the 2 central midfielders. Now, when they are attacking, it looks more like a 4-2-3-1. The double pivot midfielders stay the same as they are. The wide midfielders push high up the field and essentially become wingers. Messi drops behind Lautaro and pretty much plays as a roaming 10. You will see Messi play as a 10, but sometimes he'll go wide. He roams a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. The way Messi and Lautaro operate together, this duo, it is very similar to how Messi and Luisito Suarez worked from a tactical standpoint with Barcelona. Purely from a tactical standpoint. I'm not saying Lautaro Martinez is the same level as Suarez, even though Lautaro Martinez is not that far behind. He's one heck of a center forward. But tactically, the way Messi and Lautaro operate, the 4-4-2 in the defensive shape and playing as a 10 behind Lautaro on the offensive shape on the 4-2-3-1 is very similar to what we've seen with Messi and Suarez in Barcelona. Now look, this team is very fluid with Scaloni's tactics, so keep in mind, sometimes it may look like a 4-3-3, a different formation, but most of the time it's what I told you, a 4-4-2 on the defensive shape and a 4-2-3-1 on the offensive shape. This team is very well organized and has a game plan, however they prefer a fluid approach instead of a structured one. I must also say, there have been reports that Scaloni is thinking of trying a 3-5-2 before the World Cup and during the World Cup, which would allow him to play Lisandro Martinez, Otamendi, and Romero as the 3 center backs at the same time. But we haven't seen that 3-5-2 yet, but it could happen in the World Cup. And it is an interesting approach because he has 3 very good center backs, and it is a way to maybe fit all of them in the same starting 11. So now that you have a picture of how Scaloni sets up this team, the formation and how they set up defensively and when they're trying to attack in possession, let me talk about 2 things from his tactics that have caught my attention. One is that unlike the past few Argentina sides from 2018, 2014, and even 2010, this team is not built to depend on Messi. He adds a ton of value, a lot of value, I mean, it's Lionel Messi, but it's not built to rely on him like the past Argentina sides that we've seen. Something Scaloni probably learned from 2018. Now, the second thing that has caught my attention, that this is very much different from past Argentina sides, is that this team really knows how to play without the ball. Argentina always is capable of playing on the ball because they're super technical players, world-class players. But this team knows how to play without it. And that is very important for you to advance in knockout rounds. We saw that in the 2021 Copa America final when Argentina defeated Brazil 1-0. Brazil on paper is stronger than Argentina, and Brazil did have most of the possession and somewhat controlled the entire match. But you could clearly see that Argentina knew exactly what they were doing, and they were able to pull that 1-0 win and lift the Copa America with Messi. Brazil also has failed to score against Argentina in the past 3 matches. To hold Brazil down scoreless for 270 minutes is not an easy task, as I talked about that earlier in the video. Now, don't get me wrong, Argentina is far more dangerous when they have the ball because of the quality players that they have, and they will control the ball for most of the matches, especially in the group stage against Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. But in the knockout rounds, there will be national teams that they face that will require them to be the lesser team, right? Like Brazil. Brazil is a better team on paper. France. There's a couple national teams that Argentina will have to be the lesser team. And I can tell you, they are ready for that. This team knows how to win. They know how to win tournaments. It's going to be very complicated for anyone to knock out this Argentinian side. As this may not be the most talented Argentina team has had the past 20, 30 years, this is the best team they've had the past 20 or 30 years, in my opinion. One thing is for you to have more individual talent. Another is for you to look more like a unit, like a true team. This Scaloni side is a true team. Which, I mean, if you go back to the team that was coached by Diego Maradona, they might have had more talent than this team back in 2010. But that didn't look like a team, did it? So reason number 1 was Scaloni, and that took a while because I had to talk about how he plays. So now let's talk about reason number 2. And reason number 2 is depth. We will go through that during the roster section and talk more about each single position, but this team is very balanced when it comes to depth. The drop-off of each position from the starter to the backup is not very big. Sometimes there isn't even a drop-off, in my opinion. Obviously, a drop-off from Messi to anyone is big, but you get what I'm saying. Which I think this will be crucial during the World Cup, the depth that they have and the fact that there's no major drop-off in each position. But yeah, I'll go through their full roster in a couple minutes and you'll see that it's very balanced, all quality players. Okay, now reason number 3 is defense. Defense wins trophies, and this team has it. I already mentioned their 4-4-2 defensive shape, also holding Brazil scoreless for 3 straight matches. They also held Italy scoreless in 2022 for 3-0 win. They were the second best defense in World Cup qualifying down in CONMEBOL, only behind Brazil, with just 8 goals allowed in 17 matches. Now, for context, understand how much their defense has improved from the previous World Cup. In the previous World Cup qualifying cycle for the 2018 one, they conceded 16 goals in 18 matches. For this one, they only conceded 8. Half the amount. Now, Martinez is a fantastic goalkeeper, better than Armani, which was their starter in 2018, in my opinion. Regardless of Martinez's poor form for his club, which I really don't care about right now, he will be fine the World Cup. He's absolutely fantastic. The fullbacks are all very solid on defense, regardless of who plays. Molina, Montiel, Tagliafico, Acuna. The center back depth is also great with veteran Otamendi, Christian Romero from Tottenham, Lisandro Martinez from Man United, Germán Pezzala from Real Betis, and many others, along with De Paul and Paredes protecting the back line very well. Their defense also has this strategy that I call rotational fouling, which I hate. I really hate it, but it works. Let me explain what it is. We saw that against Brazil on Neymar in the Copa America final, which essentially is the Argentine players rotate who will beat the living crap out of the opponent's best player in order to not allow him to play, and at the same time you don't get yourself a red card. It's a bit dirty, it's part of the game, within the rules, and they do it. So essentially what happens is, for example, Otamendi will beat the crap out of Neymar, and then when the ref gives him a yellow card or a warning, they'll rotate and have De Paul beat the living crap out of Neymar. And then when he gets a yellow card or a warning, they'll switch to Paredes beating the living crap out of Neymar. And that way, you never allow the best player of the opponent to get it going. They did that in the Copa America final. It was dirty, but it was within the rules, and it works. Expect them to do that in the World Cup in the knockout rounds. Reason number 4 is Lionel Messi. And I mean, how could he not be one of the reasons? He is one of the best players of all time and the best player of his generation. But it's not just his impact on the field. It's also the fact that the players have bought into it. They fight for Messi. We saw that in the Copa America, and we're seeing this on the lead up for the 2022 World Cup. It's completely different from Ronaldo and Portugal's relationship, where you see that the coach feels obligated to play Cristiano Ronaldo, and during the game, some players feel obligated to give him the ball. While It does not feel that way with Messi and Argentina. They want to fight for Messi and get a trophy for him and their country. It almost seems like they're on a mission and they have embraced it, while the Portuguese side seems like they're more forced into a cause that they don't even want to be with. Messi has also been completely amazing for PSG this season alongside Neymar. At the time of this recording, Messi has 11 goals and 12 assists in only 16 matches. He is in amazing form. And look, this is not prime Messi, okay? But this is still one of the best players in the world. Argentina can play as well without him. And, you know, if they want to make a deep run and win this World Cup, they will need Messi to play well and to make that final push to win the World Cup. Messi hit the post in 2014 by losing the World Cup final, and this will be his last chance. By hit the post, I don't mean literally, I mean hit the post that he finished in second place. He could have won the 2014 World Cup. He's one of the greatest players of all time, and as much as the Brazilian side hates to see Argentina win the World Cup, I think the only positive I would get out of it is to know that Messi finished his career with a World Cup title. Regardless, I still have Brazil winning it. That's probably what's going to happen. If Argentina and Brazil face each other in the semifinals, I have no doubt that Brazil's going to beat them. Okay, but let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think is going to win the 2022 World Cup and why, and smash that like button or dislike button in the meantime. Now let's skim through the Argentina roster, and keep in mind some players could be injured, some of them won't make it. This is more of a projected roster of who I think will be in the World Cup. And it's also for you to get a picture of how much depth this team has. Okay, so keep in mind, when we recorded this, Celso was not injured. Now he is, and he could miss the World Cup at the time of this recording. There's still some chance that he will be able to play in the World Cup, but Celso, that was the top assister of Argentina for World Cup qualifying, might not be available. If he can't play, I could see maybe Papu Gomez replacing him. There's many different options that Scaloni could go with. Regardless, I don't think it changes my prediction in regards to Argentina being a contender. But keep that in mind, because you will be hearing me mentioning Lo Celso during the roster and the starting 11. I'm assuming he will be healthy because I didn't have his injury report at the time of the recording. Okay, now back to the video. So if Argentina were to call their players right now, these are the players that I think they would bring for a 26-man roster. For goalkeepers, I think they would bring Martinez from Aston Villa, Rulli from Villarreal, and Armani from River Plate. The right backs will likely be Molina and Montiel. I think Foyth from Villarreal is currently injured. Molina plays for Atletico Madrid, Montiel plays for Sevilla. Now the left backs, I believe it will be Acuna from Sevilla and Tagliafico from Olympique Lyonnais in France. The center backs that I think Scaloni will bring to this World Cup will be Romero from Tottenham, Otamendi from Benfica, Lisandro Martinez from Man United, and Pezzala from Real Betis. Now the midfielders that I think Scaloni will bring to the World Cup will be De Paul from Atletico Madrid, Paredes from Juventus, Guido Rodriguez from Real Betis, McAllister from Brighton in the English Premier League, Ezequiel Palacios from Bayer Leverkusen, and Enzo Fernandez, the young wonder kid that's playing for Benfica currently, that's been killing it in Portugal and the Champions League. Now the wingers slash playmakers slash wide players that I think he's going to bring will be Lo Celso from Villarreal, Papu Gomez from Sevilla, Di Maria from Juventus if he is healthy, Angel Correa from Atletico Madrid, and Nico Gonzalez from Fiorentina. The forwards will likely be Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan, Julian Alvarez from Man City, with a third option for the center forward being Simeone, not Diego Simeone, his son. And then I also believe he will bring Lionel Messi and Dybala from Roma if Dybala is healthy. As a second striker slash playmaker, Dybala is essentially the backup of Messi. So out of that roster, what are the players that would essentially likely be the starting 11 of Argentina? And keep in mind, the names I'm about to give you would be on a 4-2-3-1 formation or 4-4-2. So the main starting 11 when healthy is usually Martinez on goal, Acuna or Tagliafico on the left back, then Otamendi and Romero as the two center backs, and Molina as the right back. The double pivot midfielders will probably be Paredes and De Paul. The two wide playmakers would be Lo Celso and Di Maria. If Di Maria is not healthy, I would say probably Papu Gomez would be starting there. And then up top, you have Messi as the creator and Lautaro Martinez as the center forward. Now, if he tries the 3-5-2, then you would have Lisandro Martinez, Otamendi, and Romero as the three center backs, and the rest, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if Scaloni does try that tactical formation. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this Argentina breakdown. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to smash the like button. Thank you, BetOnline, for sponsoring this video. And let me know, who's going to win the 2022 World Cup? Will Lionel Messi finally lift the trophy? Hopefully not. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.